Objective for the next 15 to 20 minutes is to give you a feeling of some sort. Good news or bad news, I won't be sharing any slides. So it's just you and me for the next 15, 20 minutes. So if you're thinking I'm going to catch up on my LinkedIn or do some messaging or do my email, sorry, can't help you with that one. And I do need three volunteers. And I love this phrase where two roads intersect. One is courage, one is fear. Progress comes forward. So if you could just work with me to have three volunteers, I promise I'll be kind. I promise that you'll enjoy it, but you will step a little bit out of your comfort zone if you volunteer.
Lisa, Gail, I'll volunteer if no one else will, right? John.
John's volunteered. I can't see everybody.
Right, okay, so we've got Lisa Robin Wood, we've got Gail, and we've got John.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. For everybody else, I would love you to think of a number and a word. And the number and the word is out of 10 for the number and the word. And it was just before you clicked on this morning to network ideas, networking. What was the number out of 10 as to how you felt about your own self today? Out of 10, put that in the chat. And also the word that represents what the feeling meant to you. Just before you clicked on, just fill the chat up with the number and the word if you can. Nice. Sevens, eights, nines. Tired, Ramesh. We're going to try to raise that number for you. Very good. Relaxed, productive, engaged. All right. We'll leave that there for a minute and I'm going to come back to that. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been listening a lot when I ask this question to people, which is the first question you often get asked: how are you today? And these are some of the answers that I've absolutely had back. I've had that one, can't complain. I've had this one, which I absolutely detest from my partner, fine. This one could be better. This one, okay for a Monday. And this one, not bad. I just want to deconstruct that answer. The two words that are both together to combine, not bad. And the challenge to you on the first part of this is, how does that make the other person feel? And there's a guy called Robert Herjavec. Anybody ever heard of Robert before? I'll tell you who he is. He's a Shark Tank investor in the American program. And he's held that seat for 25 years. And he says to the people coming in his own brain, the good salesperson leads with a feature. The really good salesperson leads with an outcome. The person that I'm going to invest in leaves me with a feeling. And when you have that habitual answer that perhaps is programmed in your head to say, can't complain, not bad, okay for a Monday, I'm asking you, what kind of feeling does that give to the recipient? What would happen if you said words like brilliant or amazing or awesome, or perhaps I'm good actually, and how are you? You see how just a simple word change can create a feeling to the recipient that injects energy. But often we go about our daily patterns in habitual norms because that's what we always do. And in the chat, looking at the numbers, I'd say we've got an average of maybe a 7. And yet today we've got 14 business owners, 14 opportunities for you to create momentum in your business, connection, referral, sales. And yet as a collective, we're going in at 70%. Imagine Adam Peaty, Usain Bolt, Jess Ennis, Olympic final, gold medal on the line. They're in the blocks. They're on the podium waiting to jump in the pool. They look at the water, they look down the track, they look at the crowd, and they go, I'm a 7. I'm a 7. I can do this. Is that what they really say? Or do they say in their heart of hearts, I'm a 10? But I understand you can't always be a 10 out of 10 every day. You might have a bad back or a cold. You might have had a rejection yesterday and you're not feeling quite up for it. But can we be 100% of 40%? If you've got 40% to give today, can you make the 100% of whatever you've got? And with that, I'm thinking, did you really come on this call today with 100% focused to be ready? And I'm going to ask the first volunteer to step up today. Who was the first volunteer, Laura? Can you just spotlight that person?
That was Lisa.
Lisa.
Cool.
Lisa was the bravest of the brave.
All right. So this is something I will do with myself to be ready. And often in home environments where we work on our own, the first time I'm speaking to somebody perhaps is actually you guys, because I live on my own. And sometimes perhaps you might do the same, or you're talking to your kids, you're talking to your partner, but actually we need to engage business brain. And therefore I have a little tongue twister that enables me to get really in the present. So Lisa, this is a family show, okay? We're recording this. And I'm going to ask you to go with me on a tongue twister. And it's just a mechanism to warm up brain, lips, mouth, to be able to perform for the networking group. Now, Lisa, take your time, first time round. Remember, it's a family show. In your own time, off you go.
I slit the sheet I slit, and on the slitted sheet I sit.
Very good. Amazing. Do you want to go a bit quicker?
If you want, I'll try.
There you go. Off you go.
I slit the sheet I slit, and on the slitted sheet I sit.
Very good. Well done. Thank you so much for being my first volunteer, Lisa, today. Amazing.
I would have got that so wrong.
Pete, you could go with the pheasant plucker if you wish.
No, definitely not. This is not my game.
But that's the first
Who's up
part of
next?
what I wanted to try to get you to think about is your intention before you came into this meeting or before any meeting. Do you actually prime yourself to get the best potential from it? For me, there are other things that I will do. I will have music. I've got a really happy track that I will go to. And often for me, it's Rocky, Gonna Fly Now. And it just plays. And I can't help but feel ready for action. What do you do to get yourself ready? We can move. We can just jump around, even if you've got 5 seconds, 10 seconds. By moving and engaging brain with body, it does things like flooding blood and chemicals to places that you need it. Just as if you were about to be that hunter out on the savannah, it primes your body for success. And equally, if you're feeling a little bit anxious, you could just breathe slowly. For me, it's a double in and it's a slow out. The double in kind of goes, and then we pause, and then we just, all the brain does, it listens to the central nervous system. And no matter how anxious you are, 3 of those ins and outs will absolutely calm you down. So those are simple things you could do to be ready to give the feeling of positivity to a group, no matter how hard your day has been or is, to come into the room and try to give the energy that you want and the feelings that you want to impart. Laura, who's our second volunteer today?
Gail.
Gail.
Gail, if you could spotlight Gail for me, that would be amazing. Gail, I would like you to take you back to yesterday and your perfect planning. It's a little mini coaching session for you. Knowing we've got networking ideas today, we've got 14 people just desperate to hear your voice to enable those people to serve you with your needs. With a perfect day, Gail, yesterday, what would you have done to make sure that this hour and a half would be amazing for you?
So my 60 seconds in networking is linked to marketing. So I use the topic and I try. And so I had that ready this morning.
Very good. Amazing. That's a great first step. And I'll ask everybody else.
Yeah.
Did you all plan your 60 seconds today? Or did you turn up at 7:31 and think, oh, what am I going to talk about today? Great first tick there. Teacher's pet, Gail. Absolutely. What else?
I make sure that I have a kind of spreadsheet where I really try to really listen carefully to what the people do. And I have a notebook and I write that down, which I transfer then to a spreadsheet so that I can contact them and promote what they do. Also, I have loud music to wake me up, and my one is Tina Turner, The Best, when I'm going in for a sales call, pump myself up. Yeah, just and then like about 20 cups of tea before I come on to get that moving as well.
Amazing. You've picked a lot of the things I was going to ask people to think about.
Okay.
It's this value of intention. Just keep Gail spotlighted for a little bit longer. You see how she prepared her 60 seconds. She's come along with intention, with coffee, tea, music, to be able to be ready to get as much as she can from this opportunity. And I'm sure, Gail, you've also put the fortune in the follow-up, as Jim Rohn says. So what else is in your calendar this afternoon or some point today to make sure that you're going to get the return off this hour and a half in your diary? What kind of things could you do?
So generally immediately after, if I haven't got another meeting. So I'm always looking for a couple of people that I want to have more insight into. And so I will reach out, connect with people on LinkedIn generally, because that is a memory aid as well. So it's there and not disappeared. And basically ask them if I can have a virtual one-to-one with them to understand their business more. Yeah, and effectively I have Calendly linked to that so that we can immediately do that. And so I have one-to-ones booked well in advance. And before I even do that, I will research that person on LinkedIn and other things to see what they do. Yeah, so I know more when we come to have that conversation. I know more to ask the right questions.
Thank you very much, Gail. Amazing round of applause for Gail today.
I'm so pleased I didn't get a riddle.
I've got some more if you want some riddles. Don't worry. Don't worry. If we get on Spotlight, Gail, that'd be amazing. Thank you, Laura. And I'm hoping you're seeing here that success leaves clues. Prior to the networking meeting or any networking you're going to, my challenge to you is, are you investing into that networking meeting for the way that you want to return it? If I'm sitting down with a client, they say, oh, do you know what? That networking idea it's just not working for me. And then I'll ask them, what kind of preparation did you do for that meeting? How many one-to-ones have you had from that meeting? When you went to those one-on-ones, did you do what Gail said, which is find out about the person, show me you know me, and really getting as much from that and educating, entertaining, engaging with your network so that you get a return from it. And often it's putting the mirror up of accountability to somebody to say, is it working? Are you helping it work? And maybe you could be in the networking meeting today thinking, I will set myself a goal of coming away today with at least 2 people that I want to have a one-to-one with. I've written 2 names down and I will be following up today with those 2 people minimum to make sure we've got a one-to-one. That's part of my own accountability. Go to a networking meeting and make success happen. But also I'll put 15 minutes aside in my calendar in advance when I book something, because my day gets really busy. And if it's not on my calendar, it won't get done. So simple rules, come in along with the right energy, intention, expectation, prepare, and then the fortune is in the follow-up. Aside from that, I've got 5 fundamentals that I live by that enable me to try and live my best days every day. And I simply call it my SERVE framework. I'll go through them really quick because I want to be conscious of time. Sleep is a fundamental for me. It's not a case of 3 hours here, 10 hours there. It has to be a constant for me to make sure my sleep is protected And from my sleep, everything else hangs off it. The E in my SERVE framework is all about energy. The energy that I ingest, like a production line, it needs good quality ingredients for it to be able to produce the goods at the other end. Quality food, quality drink, and not substances that are going to make my production line grind to a halt. And then it's all about relationships, things like networking, things like community, things like friends, family. If you look at the longest study ever in human history, the one thing that defines the success of their years and the longevity of their health span and lifespan is the quality of their relationships. And then my V is to visualize. It could be mindfulness, it could be mental wellness, but just to visualize what does success look like for me. And I do have a journal. I'm not here to sell, but that's my journal, Prime Your Life, and it includes my Prime framework and my JOG framework to bookend each day in the best way you can. And then for me, a fundamental is exercise. I do Ironmans, I do triathlons, I do ultras. I'm not suggesting that's what has to happen for you, but just to put movement into your week, into your days, because that is what we were born to do as humans. And I think we're becoming less movement orientated. So that's a rough framework to get you feeling good for networking and feeling good for life. And the other part of life for me is, as per my coffee club, is to experience joy. I like to drink out of a cup that brings me joy. And I would love the final volunteer to go through a joyful exercise, and all of you hopefully will join in too, because this is a participative exercise that I guarantee you, if you go along with it and lose all of your inhibitions, you'll feel better for it. Laura, could you spotlight our final volunteer?
There you go.
John. Do you know, John, I think as a child, you probably laughed a lot, didn't you?
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say we laugh less as adults as we did as children?
Most definitely.
But laughing, it's one of the most infectious feelings that I think we can have. And I know you got me in the Zoom room, didn't you?
I did indeed.
Just for clarity, I had my Zoom room on and my microphone wasn't working and I couldn't hear anybody. Unbeknown to me, while I couldn't hear, the other 3 participants in the breakout room pretended to speak silently while I got my speaker sorted. So I got my speaker sorted and they're still saying, I did laugh. Thank you very much. John, we're going to take you through. Absolutely. You absolutely got it right and sinker. The anchor there that David gave us at the start was properly nailed in. I learned this from a guy called Pete Can, the Laughter Man. And Pete Can, the Laughter Man, in COVID made a living out of making people laugh in lockdown. So, John, I just want to take you through the 5 levels of laughter, and everybody else just join in too. And John, nobody's watching. It's not being recorded. We're never going to see it again.
Of course not.
It's
Just you and me, isn't it? It's just you and me.
Absolutely. Now, the laugh, first of all, it starts up here. Just put your fingers on your throat. And it's just what I call the Zoom snigger. Everybody else join in if you wish. And it just goes, and then the laughter moves down a little bit further. And then we begin to get the shoulders involved. And it just sits on the collarbone, just about here. And then we go, I'm loving your enthusiasm, John. Now the laughter begins to really get engaged and it becomes the ha. And it goes to our chest, the lungs kick in, the shoulders kick in, and we go, oh, Mark's really having a rail of a time here. Come on, Gail, laugh with me. Go on. Now the laugh moves down a little bit further and it goes down to the belly. And now the abdominals get to work out too. And we do the Father Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Ready, John? Ho, 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 ho. Brilliant. And now we lose all of our inhibitions. We go back to our childlike laugh where we just put our hands up and we just lose the plot completely. And then we do that beautiful intake of breath where the lungs fill ourselves up and we just give ourselves a huge amount of joy. Who's not feeling good now? John, that was beautiful. Thank you very much for playing.
You're welcome.
So if you're feeling a little bit down, Laura, you can take John's spotlight off. Thank you so much. If you are feeling at that low point and perhaps you just need to get a little bit of joy back, this is a really 10-second implementation you could do anytime, anywhere. And it's 5 seconds of in breath and then 5 seconds of out. And when you do this, wait for the breath that comes at the end when you've laughed for 5 seconds, and know that's giving you beautiful oxygen, filling your lungs, filling your brain of amazing oxygenated blood. So let's just go on full gallery mode on this one, Laura. Maybe remove the spotlight and we can go on full gallery mode. And we're going to do 5 seconds in. I'll count it down. And at the end, I just want you to laugh for 5 seconds out. Ready? 1, 2, 3, in. Now laugh.
Oh. Chris.
There you go. I'm not quite finished.
Oh, you're not finished.
That is my message for you today. Remember, we can have a feature in selling. We can have an outcome in selling. But the real joy that will make you connect to your clients to get the best return for your meetings is how your feeling spreads to other people. And the challenge to you is simple. Is your attitude worth catching? And when it is, it's an attitude that is truly infectious. Thank you very much.